brand new report just blew up Donald Trump's lies about the Epstein files. And now his own people are scrambling. The same MAGA figures who pushed wild conspiracy theories are suddenly changing their tune, pretending they never hyped Epstein's supposed client list at all. So what happened? The truth came out and it's devastating. Here's how the unraveling began.
A man who, according to Trump in a 2002 interview, likes beautiful women as much as I do, many of them are on the younger side. A man who died by suicide in a federal prison in Donald Trump's administration under the aegis of William Barr's Department of Justice. And yet Epstein's reported sex trafficking was seized on by the right wing, spun into a conspiracy theory about the perfidy of liberal politicians like Hillary Clinton and global elites like Bill Gates. Now, it took off partly because Epstein really did have this insane range of contacts with rich and influential people. But spinning Epstein's crimes into a vast left-wing conspiracy always required selective memories and crazy contortions. So much so that when Donald Trump's Department of Justice hyped up its dump of documents on the Epstein case in February, remember that? Even inviting some far-right influencers to the White House to pick up the files in great big binders before anyone else got it? Those influencers were disappointed and angered to find nothing new. Certainly no evidence to back up their outlandish theories about who Epstein consorted with and how he died. And suddenly, the same Trump officials who had once trafficked in Epstein conspiracy theories were flailing to convince the MAGA faithful that the conspiracies were wrong all along.
The problem is there's been like 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist. Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? If there was a video and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
For years, MAGA World clung to the Epstein conspiracy like it was gospel, obsessively claiming he was the center of some vast, shadowy left-wing cabal involving Hillary Clinton, Bill Gates, the Obamas, and probably Oprah's gardener. They pushed this narrative hard, despite Epstein being literally on tape palling around with Trump. But then reality crashed in. Epstein died in Trump's custody, under Trump's DOJ, and it was Trump who once called him a terrific guy. Now suddenly, Kash Patel and the Trump machine are sprinting away from the conspiracy they amplified for years. Nothing to see here, they say, after handing out binders of nothing burgers to far-right influencers who were furious there wasn't more fake red meat inside. So what changed? Why the sudden backpedaling? Simple. Elon Musk stepped in with a threat, and MAGA World snapped to attention. Because if there's one person Trump listens to now, it's Elon.
Old pal of Elon Musk has ominous warning for Donald Trump. The neuroscientist, whose company was partly bankrolled by Elon Musk, gave Trump a shocking heads up on what the president can expect from the tech mogul in the future. An old pal of Elon Musk said the tech mogul will relentlessly attempt to hurt Donald Trump. I've had my share of blowouts with Elon over the years, neuroscientist Philip Lowell told Politico in an article posted Sunday. Knowing Elon the way I know him, I do think he's going to do everything to damage the president. This comes as Elon recently wrote on Twitter, so tempting to escalate this, speaking of Trump, so tempting, but I will refrain for now.
Elon Musk is not holding back, and now even his old friends are warning Trump it's about to get ugly. Neuroscientist Philip Lowe, who worked closely with Musk, says Elon will do everything to take Trump down, and considering Musk just tweeted so tempting to escalate this, yeah, the gloves are coming off. Trump knows it too. That's why he's scrambling, blaming EV mandates, crying about budget cuts, and accusing Elon of being bitter over subsidies. But the real panic, it's over Elon's Epstein comment. And now Pam Bondi is desperately trying to spin it. Brace yourself for this.
Exclusive. DOJ, FBI conclude Epstein had no client list and took his own life. Donald Trump's Justice Department and FBI have concluded they have no evidence that Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, or was murdered, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. The administration is releasing video in both raw and enhanced versions that it says indicates no one entered the area of the Manhattan prison where Epstein was held the night he died in 2019. The video supports a medical examiner's findings that Epstein took his own life, the two-page memo claims. Why it matters. The findings represent the first time Trump's administration has officially contradicted conspiracy theories about Epstein's activities and his death, theories that have been pushed by the FBI's two top officials before Trump appointed them to the bureau. As social media influencers and activists Kash Patel and Dan Bongino were among those in MAGA world who questioned the official version of how Epstein died. Patel and Bongino have since said Epstein took his own life, but it has become an article of faith online, especially on the right, that Epstein's crimes also implicated government officials, celebrities, and business leaders, and that someone took his life to conceal them. The memo says no one else was involved in the Epstein case will be charged. Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, is serving a 20-year sentence for her crimes as well.
So why does this matter? Aside from the fact that Donald Trump and his crew were clearly lying the entire time. Simple. Trump is now in full panic mode, trying to scrub his fingerprints off the Epstein circus before Elon Musk decides to blow it all up. And if you think that's just speculation, take a look at what Pam Bondi, Trump's go-to damage control mouthpiece, just said about the so-called Epstein list. It flies directly in the face of the DOJ's new report.
Yeah, I saw your appearance at CPAC with Ben and with Ted Cruz. And one of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay, well, we'll check back with you.
Let's make this crystal clear. Either Pam Bondi lied at CPAC or Trump's DOJ is lying now. And honestly, there's a decent chance both are true. Bondi stood on stage bragging that the Epstein client list was on her desk, supposedly under Trump's direct orders for review. Now suddenly, the DOJ, under that very same Trump administration, claims there was no list, no blackmail, and no conspiracy. Nothing to see here, folks. Really, this isn't just contradiction, it's political exploitation of a horrific criminal case involving sex trafficking, child abuse, and the rich and powerful getting away with everything. Trump and his allies used Epstein as bait, a convenient boogeyman to point fingers at Bill Clinton, Gates, and every liberal they hated, while ignoring the fact that Trump and Epstein were personal friends for years. There are photos, there are quotes, there's tape. And now, conveniently, as Elon Musk, who also appears in photos with Ghislaine Maxwell, starts firing warning shots at Trump online, suddenly the story changes again. Now it's all about closing the file, denying the conspiracy they once amplified, and pretending the entire scandal was just a social media mix-up. But this isn't just about hypocrisy, it's about power, protection, and covering up connections no one in Trump world wants exposed. And while they try to memory hole their own words, we're still sitting here asking very basic questions. If there's nothing to hide, why is Trump scrambling? And where's Elon? He loves tweeting about everything until it's time to testify. That's exactly the point Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett made. And in this moment, she wasn't subtle. She aimed straight at Musk, and let's just say it was long overdue. Watch this.
Never actually been elected to the Oval Office and actually answering more questions than the person that allegedly got elected. But for whatever reason, this is the first time we're having a Doge subcommittee hearing, and that guy's not here. Instead, we have y'all. So I do want to thank you for coming. But I will say this. It's also interesting to me that in the first few days of Doge existing, we know that they are trying to get rid of the Department of Education, USAID, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They're laying off FAA workers. They are going after the FDA, the CDC, the HHS, the FBI agents, and they're talking about getting rid of FEMA. And they brought y'all in. And I am going to say that I actually was shocked that there was only one person that seemed like he was an overt Trumper as you laid out your opening remarks, because I anticipated that at least one of y'all would say, yes, what Elon is doing is exactly what we would prescribe. But instead, I will applaud you because you actually were focused. You talked about what the American people are looking for us to do. We've actually consistently on this side of the aisle promoted this idea of making investments into technology so that we can do things such as, say, look at the Department of Defense. The Department of Defense that takes up approximately 50% of our discretionary income, or our discretionary spending, approximately 50% goes to Department of Defense. Department of Defense has not been able to pass an audit in the last 6 audits, and we're not talking about pennies. I understand that we want everything to be perfect, and if we could get all waste, fraud, and abuse out, that would be fantastic. But let me talk about the big numbers. The big numbers are on that side. When we look at, say, our entire workforce, our federal workforce, as we're trying to somehow fire all of them, they don't even make up a total of 5%. It's even less than that when we look at our budget. But
Jasmine Crockett came out swinging, and this time it wasn't just at Trump or Elon, but the entire framework of the so-called Doge agenda. She exposed the blatant hypocrisy of calling hearings without Elon Musk present while quietly plotting to gut vital agencies like the Department of Education, FEMA, and the FDA. Her point? This isn't governance. It's sabotage dressed as reform. And while Republicans obsess over firing federal workers and shielding billionaires, Jasmine reminded everyone where the real fiscal waste lives, in a bloated, unaccountable Defense Department. And make no mistake, Jasmine is far from done.
Let's talk about defense. That just happens to be the same side of the ledger that Mr. Musk gets the vast majority of his money from. In fact, at the same time that they were unlawfully, and we will stay in court, because on this side, we believe in law and order. We believe in, a number of us are actually lawyers, but nevertheless, we understand the Constitution. We believe in that as well. And so there's things such as, impoundment, right? Because as Mr. Whitson said, he said, we need to return the power of the purse to Congress. It never left. According to the Constitution, that's where it's at. Now, I know that people are confused right now because for whatever reason, we had a guy that went in, and you talk about people invading our data. Listen, people said that they were upset about TikTok, but I'm upset about the guy that runs Twitter, who for sure is doing nefarious things, because I don't understand, if you are trying to conduct audits and figure out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is, I don't know why you would go to some tech guy. In fact, it was only techies that were sitting there at inauguration. We didn't have auditors. I would welcome auditors to come in and do forensic audits. In fact, he sat there in the Oval Office yesterday and he admitted that he was lying, and he was using his propaganda machine to do it when he said that we sent millions of dollars to Gaza for condoms. That was a lie. So let me tell you something.
The gentle lady's time has expired.
It's time for
the
us
gentle
to
lady's
do our
time has
jobs
expired.
and rein in this rogue actor known
The gentle
as
lady's
Elon
time
Musk.
has expired.
Jasmine Crockett went scorched earth. And she's absolutely right to do so. She called out Elon Musk directly, not just for his propaganda machine, but for profiting off the very federal budget his allies are now trying to slash. While Republicans scream about cutting social programs, they're funneling taxpayer dollars straight into defense contracts, the same contracts Musk relies on for billions. Crockett reminded everyone that Congress never lost control of the purse. Trump and his cronies just acted like they were above the law. She torched the hypocrisy of attacking TikTok while ignoring real data abuse from people like Musk. And when Trump spreads lies about aid to Gaza for cheap political points, she makes one thing clear: this is a rogue operation, and she's not afraid to call it what it is. Like and subscribe so you don't miss what's next, because in the next video, the storm only gets louder.